What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Summer Career Mode. This is episode number 18, and we're starting today's episode off on the back of our win in the FA Cup final over Manchester City. Struggling campaign for Pep Guardiola's side in 7th place right now. We could still mathematically catch them in the final 2 games of the season, but now there's no need to. In fact, the final 2 games of the season were now completely meaningless because, of course, winning the FA Cup, not only is it a bonus, winning our first major honour of the save, but we're also going into the Europa League for next season as well. I headed into that final with a little bit of confidence. I knew we were going to be underdogs, but I still had a little bit of confidence heading into it. And I just couldn't believe we were 3-0 up around an hour into the game, especially because, well, Man City were the better team in the game, man. I got away with that one and then some. When you think about all the games I've lost in this year's FIFA, where I've dominated but lost to one shot on my target, yeah, I think it was payback time, right? So I was buzzing with that. We're going into the Europa League for next season. And for the final 2 games of the campaign, right now, still with a shot of finishing in the top 10. It does look more likely, though, we are going to have a mid-table finish for Season 1, which is exactly what we were targeting come the start of our first season at Selhurst Park as well. I'm sitting there thinking, our final 2 games, this is a time for some of our fringe players in these games here to show me they deserve to still be here next year as we take the step up to European football at Selhurst Park as well. What are we going to do in the summer transfer window? A lot is going to depend on our budget, of course. However, I will say this, I'll still try and keep it as realistic as possible. Even if we get a budget of like £60 million, for example, don't expect Ryan Gravenberch signing, for example. I don't think that would be realistic. So, yeah, I'll do my best to keep it as realistic as possible heading into Season 2, regardless of the budget we're given this summer. I don't think it'll be that big anyway, to be honest, heading into Season 2. It rarely is. Even so, first game of the final 2, final away day of the campaign. How about this for a camera angle, by the way? This is absolutely class. You know, I mention this quite a lot, but if you are playing career mode and you want to keep your saves realistic and immersive, when you're on the road, when you're away from home, always pre-game, take note of where the away fans are housed. At Villa Park, it's at one end in the corner, if you will. Just to the side of the corner, and it looks amazing when you celebrate in front of the away fans, and that camera angle is class there as well. I know I sound like a bit of a nerd when I talk about it, but honestly, it's one of the best ways to get the save realistic and immersive, you know. Heading to the final day, though, on the back of the 1-1 draw against Aston Villa there, as you can see, Liverpool have all but been crowned champions. Chelsea and Manchester United have guaranteed a top 4 place, or so it seems. It does look likely now Man City are going to get 7th in that final European spot as well, but the final day was interesting for the relegation zone. 3 teams right now are right next to each other in the table. Nottingham Forest have been down. I think we were actually decided to relegate Nottingham Forest, but they've been down for a while. But Fulham, Brentford, Newcastle United, 2 of those teams are going down, 1 is staying up, and it was a really dramatic final day at the bottom of the table, if not so much at the top. Even so, our final game of the season was our final home game of the campaign as well, at Selhurst Park, taking on Manchester United. And heading into the game, as you would have seen my lineup here, I picked a lot of players who probably won't be here next season. Christian Benteke, I'm not against keeping him as a third choice striker, to be fair, but might cash in instead. Joel Ward, the long-serving fullback who we converted to centre-half. Nathaniel Klein, former academy graduate. Milivojevic, the captain, who's barely played this season and barely gets any minutes this time, these days nowadays as well. James MacArthur as well. Quite a few players who probably won't be here next season. And again, Conor Gallagher as well. Had to talk about this. Now, obviously, Gallagher is going to be staying at Chelsea for the upcoming season under Thomas Tuchel. Now, I talked about it when the save began. I was okay keeping him here for Season 1 because I personally believed he was going to come back. With a World Cup in Qatar, there's very limited time for him to prove himself. He deserves a spot on the plane. Getting more first-team football will give him a better chance of that, but it does seem likely now he's going to stay at Chelsea. And so for Season 2, what let's talk about is very quickly, I don't think I'm going to bring him back. Firstly, because he's grown so well, and of course he's still such a young man too, so his valuation is going to jump up to around £50 million. We might have the budget to spunk it all on Conor Gallagher, but I don't know if I want to do that. I feel like we need to, I don't know, sort of build the squad as opposed to splash out on one star player, even though he's shown this season just how good he is. So for next season, I think I look for a replacement for Conor Gallagher as opposed to bringing him back, primarily for the realism, but also because the budget might not allow me to sign him regardless. Even so, we lost the final day 1-0, so pretty tough end to the season really. 3 of our last Premier League games, failing to win them all. 2 losses to Leeds and the Red Devils, and a draw at Villa Park as well, so 1 point from 9. Not a great end to the season, all things considered, but didn't really mind one bit. We'd done our job, mid-table, well clear of the drop zone, that's all that mattered to me. So finally, table as you can see, Liverpool crowned champion, Spurs, Chelsea and the Red Devils in the top 4. Cristiano Ronaldo definitely staying for next season then. Leicester 5th, Everton 6th. Man City did hold off West Ham and finish in 7th, but we did manage to stay in the top 10. Yet we finished 2 points clear of Arsenal. 10th place finish. We had as many wins as many losses this season, 15 each. And as for the bottom 3, you'll be interested to see this. Goodness. Fulham lost on the final day. Fulham won on the final day. And Newcastle, as you can see, also won as well. But Fulham finished 2 goals clear of them to stay up. Brentford, Nottingham Forest, and the mega rich Magpies are down to the Championship. And you best believe, with Crystal Palace's recruitment policy, they like to sign those players from the Championship. I am definitely going to be looking to raid Eddie Howe's team in the summer. So Maximin, Bruno Guimaraes, I don't know. We'll have to think about it, but no doubt about it, with the Magpies going down, I'm definitely going to be looking at Brentford. They've got a few good players in their team as well. I wouldn't mind getting from Nottingham Forest, possibly Brennan Johnson, the local lad who now represents Wales on the international stage. I know that Bryce Samber's moved on in real life with Dean Henderson and Wayne Henderson coming in, but even so, he's still there in the game, so possibly a replacement for Gaeta in Bryce Samber as well. Not too sure about Nottingham Forest. Maybe Joe Worrell as well at centre-back. We have talked about our defensive struggles this year. Maybe. But for Newcastle United, definitely a few players I'll be looking at there and thinking, okay, all right, there's some decent talent at St James's Park right now. Obviously, Max Aaron's our starting right back these days, and we got Nathaniel Klein as our backup. Kieran Trippier, the difference he made to Newcastle United, coming in here at Crystal Palace. Possibly, definitely worth considering. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Even so, as you can see, the Championship, who's coming up for next season. Also the Carabao Cup, just like in real life, Liverpool beat Chelsea, so nice to see a realistic thing happen in a realistic career as well. We, of course, won the FA Cup, though, to beat Man City and go into the Europa League for next season and pick up Crystal Palace's first ever major honour. And as for the European competitions, for those interested, the Europa Conference League, very interesting indeed. Marseille beat the lads from Madeira, Martimo, in the final to win the inaugural Europa Conference League this year, so the French side getting the title. As for the Europa League, as you can see, Leicester City went all the way to the final, taking on Benfica, but came up short to the lads from Lisbon, so pretty decent for the Portuguese side there, both reaching finals of the Europa League, Conference League and Europa League as well, Benfica winning the Europa League. But as for the Champions League, this was interesting. Yep. Wow. Manchester United beating AC Milan in the final. Ronnie posing with another Champions League. Yeah, I think if that timeline was to develop in real life, we wouldn't have this summer saga right now, would we? Yeah, where is Ronnie going to go? The latest team that have been linked to him, Atletico Madrid. Goodness gracious me. Wouldn't go to Manchester City because he didn't want to damage the relationship with the Manchester United fans, but he's okay going to Atletico, even though that will damage the relationship with the Real Madrid fans. Cristiano, where's the logic? Where's the consistency? I don't understand it. Is he going to go and play under Diego Simeone? I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see it, don't get me wrong, but it's a crazy summer saga, really, isn't it? I mean, seriously, we're all sitting there thinking, can it just be concluded now? Do you know what I mean? It's like every single major European club, it seems, has been linked to. You had your Chelseas, you had your Bayerns, you had your Barcelonas, you know. Atletico Madrid, the latest team to throw their hat into the ring. Goodness gracious. But even so, as we end Season 1, as you can see, I run through the team here. Wilfried Zaha was definitely one of my players of the year this year. 18 goals and 5 assists in 28 games. But I'd say that Edouard was my top man this year, up top as well. Rak-Saki was the youngster that burst onto the scene. Michael Elise did well in his debut year as well. But heading into Season 2, as I run you through the squad here, you asked the question, where are we going to improve? for Season 2. I'm fine with the front three. I've got no plans to cash in on any of the front three. Zaha's won us a major honour and he's dragged us into Europe. His FA Cup semi-final appearance was a heroic one. Edouard was the best assist maker in the Premier League this year, and Michael Olise is only 20. If a big club comes in for one of those three, I'm not against cashing in for the realism, but for the most part, I'm fine with the front three, and I'm fine with our midfield trio as well. We'll need a replacement for Conor Gallagher, but Doucouré and McNeil are doing me nicely. My opinion, possibly backline. Yeah, Mitchell's had a few injuries this season. Max Aarons has done okay, but I definitely need a new goalkeeper for the upcoming year to replace the ageing Gaeta as well. Even so, Season 1 in the books, Crystal Palace FA Cup winners are heading into the Europa League. Question is, what are we going to do in the summer transfer window? Well, that will end today's episode of the Realistic Summer Career Mode, guys. Big thanks for watching Season 1 and the season finale as well. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the start of Season 2 as the summer transfer window opens very soon.